The Breakup. It's a pop-up bar in LA where people can go and drink and read all about relationship mistakes other people have made. Folks can melt in their melancholy, bathe in their tears. The Breakup has been packed since it opened, with people lining up to get in each night. The Breakup bar features a wall of broken relationships covered with notes, texts, and conversations from an ex-boy and ex-girlfriends. There's a giant screen playing breakup movies all night long. The cocktail is very extensive, ranging with signature drinks called the She Blinded Me with Science, Tears of My Ex, and Body Like God, Brain Like a Brick. The Breakup Bar. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for watching. News 3 at 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5, with the fresh snow on the ground, snowmobilers are hitting the trails. How clubs say a new proposal would make snowmobiling safer.
Area law enforcement has a reminder for drivers tonight after a deputy was rear-ended.
Plus, a Janesville man says he can help with that city's homeless problem. We'll tell you about his plan.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
Thanks for staying with us at 5. Following our latest snowfall, the Dane County Sheriff's Office has a very important reminder for drivers.
Charlotte DeLeste is here with their message. Charlotte?
Eric and Susan, it is quite simple. Move over and slow down. This reminder comes after 2 incidents last night, one where a deputy got rear-ended while responding to a slide-off, and another when a county snowplow got clipped by a vehicle that got too close. It's these examples that show why the move-over law must be top of mind for drivers, especially when roads are slippery and snow-covered.
It's designed to keep those emergency responders safe. So whatever you have to do in that situation, if you can move over, you're supposed to do that. If you can't move over, then you need to slow down significantly to make sure everybody is safe.
So drivers, you must always provide a safety zone for stopped law enforcement, emergency, and maintenance vehicles, especially with, like I said before, with the slippery and snow-covered roads that we have right now. It is so vital you stay focused and alert. And Susan and Eric, good news, there were no injuries from those 2 incidents last night.
All right, Charlotte DeLeste joining us in studio. Charlotte, thank you. Well, snowmobilers are elated tonight to see snow on the ground, and conditions for them, well, they're just right.
Supporters of a new bill at the Capitol say it aims to make the sport even safer. Our Rose Schmidt is live along Military Ridge State Trail in Verona to explain what the measure does. Rose?
Yes, well, Wisconsin has more than 25,000 miles of snowmobile trails just like this one for riders to enjoy. But the state also has a high number of fatalities related to alcohol use, and a new measure is aiming to cut that down.
If you've ever been lucky enough to see this view, you know there's nothing like it.
I've been doing it since I was 15 years old. I mean, you got to do something with this stuff, so you might as well enjoy it.
Sam Landis spends his vacations up north. You guessed it, snowmobiling.
We haven't had this kind of snow for a couple years, and yeah, it's been great.
And now his organization supports a law change he says will make things even more safe out on the trails.
It's updating an old law to meet current times.
The measure comes out of concerns from law enforcement and would make drinking laws for snowmobiling similar to those of the road. State Senator Andre Jacques is co-sponsoring it.
Basically, it requires absolute sobriety for somebody under the age of 21 getting on a snowmobile after they've been drinking.
Jacques adds that people under 21 aren't supposed to be drinking anyway.
It really is kind of standardizing across all different types of vehicles that you shouldn't be under 21 and getting behind the wheel.
While the bill doesn't apply to people who are of the legal drinking age, he says it's just as important for them not to get on a snowmobile after drinking.
For 21 and older, we still would have the same .08 standard as applies to every other type of vehicle.
That means club riders like Sam can hop on the trails and enjoy the days left with snow on the ground.
We work hard to keep everything safe. Trails are open. We want everybody to enjoy them.
The Department of Natural Resources says just last weekend there were 4 fatal incidents related to snowmobiling around the state. So if you're going to get trails just like this one, make sure you are staying sober and staying safe. And as for that bill, it has been referred to the Public Safety Committee in both houses at the Capitol.
We'll continue to follow it. Thank you, Rose. Yesterday's record-breaking snows have been fun for winter athletes, but others are still cleaning up, and residents across Dane County are shoveling and snow blowing to remove over 8 inches of snow from yesterday. Tonight at 6, we'll take a look at how it's impacting homeowners and local snowblower repair shops.
All right, let's get a look at your first alert weather now. Chief Meteorologist Gary Kinalte joining us on the weather patio. Gary, things will be feel a little warmer tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, temperatures should actually be above freezing for a few hours. Not going to melt very much of the snow, and then after that, temperatures will go back below freezing for much of the next 7 days or so. As we take a look at visible cloud track, you can see the snow on the ground across southern and central Wisconsin from the last couple of storms. We also see some clouds starting to move in from the west, and that's the next weather system that will be affecting us late in the day tomorrow. As we check out Doppler track, you can see nothing really happening across Wisconsin. To the west, a couple of flurries trying to develop over parts of western Minnesota and western Iowa. Those will be in here by late tomorrow afternoon. Might even be mixed in with a little rain, as those temperatures are expected to be in the upper 30s at that time. Current temperatures are in the lower 20s across much of southern Wisconsin. Milwaukee at 26, Madison 23, La Crosse at 21. High temperatures so far today in the middle to upper 20s. Milwaukee was as high as 28. Low temperatures this morning started out in the middle teens. Wind chills right now generally in the teens. There's not much of a breeze, but by later on tomorrow night, those wind chills could drop to about 10 to 15 below zero as actual air temperatures drop into the single digits. Otherwise, look for those temperatures to fall to the upper 20s by early tomorrow morning, and then look for those temperatures to start rising again. Our high temperatures will top out in the upper 30s with a chance for a rain or snow shower late in the day. And that is your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
All right, Gary, thank you. Law enforcement across the state, along with friends and family, are gathering to remember fallen Milwaukee officer Matthew Rittner. A public visitation and funeral service for the officer took place at Oak Creek Assembly of God Church in suburban Milwaukee. The 35-year-old officer fatally shot while serving a search warrant a week ago. Rittner survived by his wife and young son and extended family. Rittner's partner with the Milwaukee Police Department says he will always remember Matt's sense of humor.
As we worked together for as long as we did, we developed nicknames for each other. One of the things that, with me being 7 years older than Matt, what he started referring to me was old man or grandpa. And of course, my nickname for him was son.
Meanwhile, the Milwaukee Brewers are remembering Officer Rittner. Adam McAlvey, an MLB.com beat reporter, tweeted this photo right here. He says the Brewers have set up a locker in their new Phoenix clubhouse dedicated to Officer Rittner. Matthew Rittner and his wife Caroline were married at Miller Park before a game on the field there in September of 2017.
Beloit Memorial Principal Orlando Ramos has resigned from his position. District officials say Ramos was placed on administrative leave on February 7th. The district did not confirm what led to Ramos being placed on leave, saying the move was a personnel matter. District spokesman Brian Visser says Assistant Principal John Kaminsky will handle the responsibilities until an interim principal is named. Ramos was hired for the position in July, and this was his first year with the school.
A 52-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of his 7th operating while intoxicated charge. Police say Woodrow Bartlett pulled into the Walgreens on Cottage Grove Road, went into the store, then fell on the floor and couldn't get up. This was yesterday afternoon. Employees said they called police after they were concerned for his well-being, and that's when he was arrested for his 7th OWI.
Medical providers and Wisconsin public health officials are urging people to get vaccinated as they continue to monitor ongoing outbreaks of measles in other states. Doctors at SSM Health and Wisconsin public health officials say the measles is a serious and highly contagious disease that is springing up across the country. Even a small number of measles cases can quickly produce an epidemic. Public health officials in Illinois, Washington, and New York are dealing with ongoing measles outbreaks. Complications can include diarrhea, pneumonia, respiratory failure, encephalitis, or even death. Health officials are urging anyone over the age of 1 to get the measles vaccination. The state Senate plans to vote on honoring Black History Month after Assembly Republicans refused to recognize NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick in the resolution it passed. The vote comes a day after Democrats in the Assembly sparred with Republicans over naming Kaepernick in the resolution. The Assembly ultimately approved a resolution that did not name him. Republican Assembly Majority Leader Jim Steineke said Kaepernick was not named because he is a controversial figure. Kaepernick was born in Wisconsin and drew criticism when he began kneeling before the national anthem in 2016 to protest police brutality and racial inequality.
They want to decide that Wisconsin's white Republicans don't actually care about Colin Kaepernick's reason for protest. He's protests questionable shootings and the loss of African American lives at the hands of law enforcement. Is it that you don't believe that that happens, or you believe that it's okay?
Also at the Capitol, Republican lawmakers are circulating a bill that would prohibit minors from buying e-cigarettes and other vaping products. The measure would prohibit people from selling products such as vape pens to minors. Current state law bars retailers and manufacturers from selling tobacco or nicotine products to minors. Republican legislators said in a memo to their fellow lawmakers that most of the time it's impossible to tell whether vaping devices contain tobacco. They say even if the devices do not contain tobacco, using them will lead to tobacco use. For the first time ever, Dane County is offering bilingual ballots at every polling place. Voters can either select an English or Spanish ballot. Currently, the town of Madison is the only jurisdiction in Dane County needing to offer Spanish ballots in order to stay in compliance with federal requirements. The ballots will be available on the handicap-accessible machines, and voters will have to select their preferred language. Early voting, by the way, is currently underway in the 2019 spring primary for February 19th.
A Janesville man says he has a new way to help with the city's homeless problem.
And now he's putting his skills to work to make it happen. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter took a closer look today. He joins us from our bureau at the Janesville Gazette with how this plan would work. Adam?
Well, Eric and Susan, by trade, Richard Snyder is a craftsman. He spent the last few decades building stained glass windows, cabinets, among other things. But now he's setting his sights on tiny homes, which he says he believes can give Janesville's homeless population a place to live. I spent the day with Snyder in his workshop, and he told me that he's brought the idea in front of City Council, who are open to working with him on the solution. He says he first got the idea this summer when the death of a homeless man in town got him thinking.
I knew that they had a homeless problem here in town, but I didn't know how serious it was. It's like everywhere, you know, and you just really don't know that until something happens.
I spoke on the phone today with Doug Markline, the Janesville City Council president, who told me he's open to the idea of a tiny home in Janesville, but says even so, there will be a number of hoops that they will have to jump through, namely with zoning and ordinance. But still, he says he's confident that this idea could possibly go through as early as in the next couple of years.
Adam Duxter in Rock County. Adam, thank you.
Thank you, Adam. A 13-year-old Wisconsin girl who spent 88 days in captivity after a violent abduction is thanking supporters around the world. Jamie Kloss was taken in October in an attack that killed both of her parents at their family's home. A 21-year-old man is charged with kidnapping and murder. Jamie is living with one of her aunts right now. In a statement, she and the Kloss family expressed their deepest gratitude for the incredible gifts and generous donations that Jamie has received. The statement says the many kind words Jamie has received have been a source of great comfort to her and her family.
More to come on News 3 now at 5 up next. Final touches are being put on a border security deal to avoid another government shutdown. We'll tell you what lawmakers are doing to get the president to sign it.
And NASA says goodbye to one of its oldest explorers. We'll look back at the rover's discovery on the red planet.
On Wall Street, the Dow up 117.5 on this Wednesday. NASDAQ adds half dozen. The S&P 500 up about 8. We'll be right back. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are putting the finishing touches on a border security deal to avoid another government shutdown.
Pressure mounted on the president to sign the bill, but President Trump has not definitively said if he will. The president wanted $5.7 billion for a border wall. The compromise gives him about a quarter of it, nearly $1.4 billion for fencing, 55 miles of it in the Rio Grande Valley. Congressional lawmakers are racing to get a draft on paper.
If the text of the bill reflects the principles agreed to on Monday, it won't be a perfect deal, but it'll be a good deal.
The president must not repeat his mistakes of the recent past. President Trump, sign this bill.
Lawmakers could vote on the spending bill as early as tomorrow. President Trump would need to sign it by Friday night to avoid another partial government shutdown.
NASA has declared the mission of the Mars rover Opportunity officially complete now, 15 years after its launch. NASA made that announcement after repeated attempts to contact the vehicle went unanswered. NASA last heard from Opportunity last June before a planet-wide dust storm blocked sunlight from the spacecraft's solar panels. Launched in 2004, Opportunity vastly outperformed its initial 90-day mission. Among its achievements, finding evidence that water once flowed on Mars. It also examined the first meteorite found on another planet.
People are going to be benefiting all over the world. They're going to be benefiting from this science for years to come.
But even though the Opportunity is over, exploration of the red planet continues with NASA's Curiosity rover and InSight lander.
To weather now, Gary is here in the studio with us. A good chance to dig out today, Gary.
I was the first one out there early this morning digging out as the plows just kind of pushed all the snow in front of the driveway. But you know, after a very slow start to the winter, we have picked up quite a bit of snow since then. For the season now, we're at 40.7 inches of snow. The first 15 weeks of winter, less than 10 inches. We exceeded that in yesterday's storm, officially 10 inches from start to finish here in Madison. So over the last 4 weeks, about 2.5 feet of snow fell, and compared to last winter, or last time that we had an above average snow season, you have to go back to 2013 and 2014. We're now on our way to doing that this year. As far as snow depth is concerned, you can see the entire northern portion of the United States covered with snow. The thicker snow up through central and northern Wisconsin, many locations over a foot. But here in southern Wisconsin, anywhere between about 6 and 12 inches seems to be pretty widespread across the southern portion of the state. And you can see the snow on the ground from the visible cloud track. You can really make out the rivers where it shows up a little bit darker. But you can also see the high clouds now starting to stream in from the west, and those will lower and thicken with time and give us a cloudy day for tomorrow. So we look at Doppler track, nothing happening right now here. To the west, a few flurries starting to show up over parts of western Iowa and western Minnesota. By the time they reach us late tomorrow afternoon, they could even be mixed with a few drops of rain, as temperatures are expected to be in the upper 30s. Compared to where we are now, those temperatures mainly in the lower 20s and even some upper teens out to the west of us. But wind chills right now, not too much of a factor because the winds are light. These wind chills will drop to about 5 to 15 below zero by late tomorrow night into early on Friday morning as a cold front comes sweeping through. Live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville. You can see the skies starting to cloud up there. The WISC Skycam also showing those mid and high level clouds starting to thicken up a bit. The Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing mostly cloudy skies, although from time to time you can make out the sun a little bit through the clouds. High today 26 degrees, the low 15, so a little bit below the averages of 30 and 14. And right now we're sitting at 23 degrees with mostly cloudy skies, winds out of the south-southwest at 8 miles per hour. Our wind chill is at 14 degrees. On weather track, notice the upper level winds are now from a west-northwesterly direction. This means two things. Number one, it's bringing in colder air. Number two, it also keeps the supply of moisture farther to the south. So the next weather system coming in is not going to have nearly the amount of moisture that the last couple of storms that have brought freezing rain and snow have brought. So this weather system will just bring in some light rain and snow showers late tomorrow afternoon, along with a cold front, which is still actually back to the west of this area of low pressure. But eventually, the low will move east, warm us up as the warm front swings through. Notice south of the warm front, where there's little or no snow on the ground, temperatures are in the 60s as far north as western Nebraska, whereas on our side of the front, they're mainly in the teens and 20s. But as you look at the future track, you can see the clouds thickening up tonight. Notice the southerly winds, and then they shift around to the northwest by late tomorrow afternoon as the light rain and snow showers move through. And then here comes the colder air for Friday into Saturday. That'll keep high temperatures on Friday in the teens, and on Saturday, look for high temperatures to probably only top out in the lower 20s. So for tonight, skies will gradually turn mostly cloudy. Some patchy fog is possible late. Low temperatures temperature dropping to 17. For tomorrow, look for a high temperature of about 38 degrees. So that'll be a big improvement over today. It'll be cloudy with some light rain and snow showers possible late in the day. On future track, notice the clouds coming in overnight. Temperatures will actually start rising, so that by morning we'll be in the upper 20s already. Look for high temperatures tomorrow in the upper 30s. And then notice tomorrow night as that cold front swings through, the rain and snow showers move out. Temperatures drop to 5 above 0 with wind chills as cold as 15 below, and high temperatures on Friday only in the teens. As we look at the 10-day forecast, those temperatures stay colder than normal for the weekend. A chance of light snow Sunday that might bring in an inch or two of accumulation. Another slight chance of snow Wednesday, and then toward the end of next week, none of those storms look to be very big as far as snow is concerned. As far as our News 3 Now First Alert traffic, right now things are a little dicey on the Beltline in spots, and also on I-3990. We've seen some delays according to the traffic cameras. Right now, some delays southbound on I-3990 heading over toward the Beltline interchange. Also, a few delays every once in a while, both east and westbound on the Beltline between Verona Road and Stoughton Road. As far as travel times are concerned, right now 24 minutes in the eastbound direction on the Beltline toward the interstate, 17 minutes back toward University Avenue. Heading out of Madison right now, 27 minutes down to Janesville on I-3990, 17 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 17 minutes down to Sun Prairie on US 151. That's your First Alert traffic.
All right, Gary, thank you.
As Americans prepare to celebrate Valentine's Day, robbing Romeos are on the rise. We'll tell you about a new report on how much it's costing consumers. Valentine's Day is tomorrow, and while people are looking for love, scammers are looking for victims.
Meg Oliver reports on the growing problem of romance scams.
Beverly Fransky thought she found love on a dating website. She met a man who told her he was a serviceman stationed in Afghanistan, but he was a con artist. When their online relationship bloomed, he asked for money for medical bills. She told us last year she sent him more than $30,000.
Why did you send him money? This was a person you had never met in person.
I don't know. I'm a caregiver. I've always taken care of people. And it was one promise after another, I'll pay you back when I get home, and oh, blah, blah, blah.
A new report from the Federal Trade Commission shows romance scams generated more losses for consumers in 2018 than any other type of fraud reported. The number of complaints ballooned from 8,500 in 2015 to 21,000 last year. Consumers lost more than $140 million to robbing Romeos in 2018.
Scammers are really, really good at this, and I think that they're getting even better at it. They're very good at spinning their lies. They're very good at getting people hooked.
Scammers often target their victims through online dating sites or social media. They gain the victim's trust and then ask them to wire money. Beverly fell for her scammer on Match.com.
Are you embarrassed that this happened?
No.
How do you feel?
Disgusted.
Disgusted.
And mad. And hurt.
The 73-year-old drained her inheritance and borrowed $10,000 from friends. She was trying to do good, but broke the FTC's #1 rule: never give money to a suitor you haven't met in person. Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
The Better Business Bureau estimates there may be 1 million romance fraud victims in the U.S. alone.
Stay with us. We'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment.
The
Nice to see the sun today.
Yeah, it was. Clouds are moving back in, but that'll keep us mild tonight. Temperatures won't drop very much and then start rising. Right now we're at 23. We'll probably hit the upper teens around midnight, and then those temperatures will start rising. By morning, we'll be in the upper 20s, and look for a high temperature tomorrow of 38 degrees for Valentine's Day. Could see some light rain and snow showers late in the day. Those will change to flurries before ending tomorrow night. And then the temperatures drop back down below freezing for much of at least the first 2/3 of next week. Some light snow Sunday might bring an inch or two of accumulation. A couple other chances for light snow in there too.
All right, Gary, thank you. We're back in 30 minutes with more updates on News 3 Now at 6. The CBS Evening News coming your way next. Stay tuned.